Hello again, guys. I've been enjoying making these videos, so I'm gonna keep it rolling. My goal is to make three back to back. I just made the social one, so here's the directional one with the drone. Hopefully you've read the problem, you've made an attempt. I know you have, but I'm gonna help you if you haven't got to this point. KBMS is located 9 blocks south of Ellsworth. This is actually true. Ellsworth is the x-axis of Denver. If you go to Ellsworth, which is a few blocks north of Alameda, you're gonna see zeros because it is literally zero. It is the x-axis. So 9 blocks south of Ellsworth, if this is Ellsworth, is going to be here's 5 blocks south. Well, there's 10 blocks. It's going to be right above that. And hopefully you know your northeast, south, and west. If you don't, I got this. I also put it this way. You really, really, really should know it. It's very common language, especially in Denver, to say, hey, go 4 blocks east. So I'm going to continue to use that language. 9 blocks south, 30 blocks west of Broadway. Broadway, just like Ellsworth, Broadway is the y axis. If you ever go by Broadway, you're going to see some zeros on that street sign as well, because it is the y axis of Denver. So 30 blocks west, we're going this way, is literally right there. That one's a little bit nicer. And so I can see this is where Kepner Beacon is on the street coordinate grid that is Denver. And it's actually super, super, super close to the exact. I changed the numbers to make it nicer, but we're actually at, I believe, negative 31.5, -9. So, I mean, we're like 2 away from this exact point. So, anyway, this is real. This is realistic. Very close to true. Let's find GBMS. 18 blocks south of Ellsworth. I'm going 15, 16, 17, 18. Right there on that line is -18. 15 blocks east of Broadway. Here's Broadway. This is east. 15 is here. If I put those together, I'm right there. Maybe I'll put a G for GBMS and a K for KBMS to kind of represent it. And I'm just using my trackpad, so please don't make fun of my bad handwriting. But oh gosh, that's awful. Whatever, you get it. Anyway, drone, right? You know what a drone can do that a car can't? It can fly straight in a straight line, assuming there aren't any tall buildings or apartments. She's going to draw a straight line there. And I'm going to be very bad at making this line, but I'm going to try to estimate it, and I might be semi-cheating-ish because I know some certain things about this problem because I made it, but there is a decent-ish line of the path. And so here's what you guys are supposed to do. You're supposed to use a table, a graph, or directional reasoning. That basically says, hey, I go this far north, this far south, this far east, west to go, or the drone does to go from one to the next. And I'm going to give you some two hugely important numbers with that. Okay. If you start 9 blocks south and get to 18 blocks south, your overall south distance here is 9. So overall, you are going 9 blocks south because we went from a -9 down to a -18. 9 blocks south is your overall. Now, to get the total, this is a huge distance. I'm going to do my best not to botch it. I'm actually going to change numbers so both of them kind of stand out in different ways. Let's see. Hey, that's not that bad. I've done worse. This huge distance, it's actually not that tough. All you got to do is break it up from here to here. And I know that from this y-axis, that's Broadway, to here, I know that's 30, right? I'm ignoring the negative just to say that the total distance is 30 blocks from here to here. And from here to here, it's 15. If I add those up, my total distance here is going to be 45 blocks. I'm going from here to here. I'm going east, 45 blocks east. So that's a big thing you can use, but I want you guys to be better. Okay. So you got 9 blocks south, 45 blocks east. I want you to do this. Can you break it down? Can you say if overall I do that? I'm even going to write it as a fraction, and hopefully you can see this fraction can be reduced. For those of you in 8th grade, this is the slope. In fact, I'm going to, hopefully you can see a downward slope and see it's negative, but both of these numbers can be divided by something. They can be divided by 3, but I'm going to give you a hint. They can be divided by an even bigger number. If you don't know what that bigger number is, start with 3 and make this as small as you can. And once 8th graders, when you make it as small as you can, you're going to find the simplified slope. 7th and 6th graders, still try to divide it and think about it like this. Once you do that division, you're going to break down these into much, much, much smaller pieces. Essentially saying this, for every, I'll give it to you, for every one block you go south, there's a certain amount of blocks you go east. I almost said west. There's a certain amount of blocks you go east. I'm wondering if I can zoom in. I'll try, and if it's ugly, I'll zoom back out. But let's see. Yeah. So for every one block south you go, there's a certain amount of blocks that you go east, and that kind of continues. Oh gosh, it's a little bit tough to make it exact. But basically we get these sort of little triangles that shows for every one block south, I go this many east, and that trend continues all the way from KBMS to GBMS. And so that would be more proficient advanced if you can take that fraction, divide it, and then make sense of what it actually means. Like what happens on a small scale for this slope. And eighth graders, once again, you want to do better, make an equation. For the equation, you can find that y-intercept, and you can see the number just visually. It's pretty dang close to that -15. I'm not going to give it away, but there's a lot you guys can do with this. Of course, make a table, but try to figure out how that drone goes. Like it starts at this point, then this point, then this point, then this point. Can you find those in between points from KBMS to GBMS? That's what I'm looking for, and Ms. Foss is looking for kind of more proficient, advanced responses for this. Well, for 6th and 8th grade, this is going to be the last one. 7th grade, I got one more for you. And so 7th grade, I will see you guys tomorrow through one more video.